Right, so good afternoon and good evening, everyone, from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Kecher Africa webinar. And this is one of the webinars that we do. And today's webinar is all about education beyond borders. And today we're doing volume 16. And the webinar is themed Erasmus Scholarship in Europe, Best Preparations Procedures with a Study Abroad Specialist. And today we are honored to have Duta back again. So she was here again during some times back when we had such a webinar, and today she's back again to share how do you apply for Erasmus Scholarship, what are opportunities available, and how do you go about it. So we're so honored at Kecher Africa to host you today, and we hope that you're going to get most of it from this webinar, even as you prepare for your journey to study abroad. Like you can see, like our slogan is Inspire the World, and we hope to inspire you as well so that you can get that scholarship, go outside there and make it best for your future. So my name is Pauline Kimathi, a volunteer from Kecher Africa, and like I said, I'm happy to be hosting this session today, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a very engaging session with the guest speakers. So please stay tuned and make sure you invite people to follow this session. So before I even continue, I would like us to observe some of the ground rules. So make sure that your mic is muted throughout the session. And if you'd like to speak kindly, you can unmute yourself, and the moderator of this session is going to give you a chance to speak. And you can also make use of the chat box down below. And if you have any question, let us know. And even as we wait for the guest speaker, kindly let us know where you're joining us from. And you could share how you feel today. What is your mood today? So as we continue to engage with this session, and we are hoping that it's gonna be a very interactive session. So I would like to say that this session is being recorded live on Facebook page. So you can follow there and also share with someone who you think that they can benefit from it, and also on your social media pages. And even after this, we're going to have this recording, which is going to be uploaded on our YouTube channel and all our pages, that is Kecher Africa. So without wasting much time, I'm going to introduce Kecher Africa, what we do and who we are very quickly. And then I will hand it over to our moderator of the session who will introduce the guest, and then we will continue. So Kecher Africa is Kecher Africa. It's an organization that we do mostly, just a minute. We are a group of volunteers, and what we do, let me stop sharing my screen for a minute. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes,
All
I
right.
can see.
Perfect. So we are a group of volunteers. So we are a group of volunteers, and we are currently in 9 countries, and we're still growing. So we are a group of volunteers who are student volunteers and professionals as well, and also people large at the community who do various activities. And how do we inspire the world? So we are hoping to change the world, and we are starting with Africa because this is where we live, and we believe that Africa is where change should originate. So we share information on different aspects, and we do have 3 pillars, and one of them is to promote education and human capital development. So during afterwards, I'm going to explain to you how we promote education, and also we address society issues. That means when there are issues in society that needs to be addressed, so we chip in and help in that, especially during the COVID-19 when we were experiencing a pandemic. We were able to contribute a few masks to schools, and they were able to benefit from that. And any other community initiative, we are open with that. And we are also aiming to promote international collaborations, because we do have various volunteers in the different parts of the world. And we have a very large team of supporters and volunteers from Japan who joined us, and also from the UK and other African countries. So we do have various programs at Kecher Africa, and one of the programs that we do have here at Kecher Africa is the mentorship program for the high school student. So how do we mentor this high school student? So we visit schools physically to speak about career opportunities and how they can prepare for their exams, and how they can also benefit from scholarships like this, especially for undergraduate. So that's how we help the high school student. And we do also offer them an online session whereby we invite a speaker to help them on how to write their essays if they are looking forward to apply scholarships, and also to advise them in terms of career, because we feel like these high school students, they are at a very they are at the end, and they need a lot of support for them to navigate from school and then to the career world. So that is how we support the high school student. And then the other thing that we do at Kecher Africa is the monthly webinars, like what we are having today. So our monthly webinars are in two series, that is Education Beyond Borders. Education Beyond Borders, actually we share information on study abroad. So this is the first a person who is applying for scholarship for the very first time, and they would like to go to study abroad. That is scholarship being for undergraduate or postgraduate. So we have these webinars like what we are having today, and share on about application process, the available opportunities, and we invite guests who speak on different aspects. And then the other part of this series, the webinar series that we usually have, is after Education Beyond Borders. So this ideally targets people who have already completed their education abroad, and they're trying to figure out, so do I go back to my host country? Do I go back to my mother country, or do I remain in the host country, or how am I going to navigate and get a job? So we get guests who've gone through the process, and they get to share with them, how do you navigate now after studying abroad? And also we can have guests who speak on business opportunities, how to start your own business, and also how to prepare for employment after studying abroad. So ideally, that is what we do for the webinars that we have, which are themed Education Beyond Borders and After Education Beyond Borders. And then the next program that we have is the Virtual Student Exchange. So this one, we do have it with elementary schools, that is primary schools, like we call them here in Kenya. And in Japan, it's the elementary schools. So these young learners, they usually have like a virtual session where we connect them and get to learn different cultures from each community. And also they can engage in actual learning like Kahoot and gamification, and the teachers moderate the session, and that is how we help them. And then once we support them now from primary, we now support them even in high school through the same virtual student exchange. And we've had several student exchange sessions that we've had, like recently last week we had one, and we're looking forward to reach out to more schools in Africa and also in Japan and other countries in the world, so that we can give them the global perspective, how it is like to study in different world, how do they exchange ideas when it comes to learning and improving their learning outcomes. And then the final program that we have is the community exchange program. So like you can see, our programs are tailored to support ideally the learner from the young age, from primary, then there's high school, and then they join university. And then after university, there's the aspect of employment. And then we have now the final program, which is the community exchange. So this community exchange program, ideally, we usually have like virtual sessions where we connect senior citizens from different countries, that is Japan, Japan, Kenya, and other countries. And they get to exchange ideas on agriculture, how to sell their product, on trade and other aspects when it comes to helping the community. And also this is where now we get back to the community and support any need that the community has. So it's a whole package of programs that we are having here at Kecher Africa. And we hope that we are inspiring the world, and we hope to make it better and better even as the days goes. So another thing, if you are passionate about volunteering, you could join our team. And currently we're looking for volunteers who would help us in the student exchange program and also in such webinars. So when you volunteer with us, you don't just spend your time. You grow a lot of skills, that is the leadership skills and also people management, because ideally when you're volunteering, there's a lot that you can learn from each team member, because we are professionals from different fields, and others are students who are studying abroad and others in their different countries. So there's a lot that you can gain from us. So if you feel like you're that kind of a person who feels like you would like to volunteer, so kindly send your CV to info@kecherafrica.org, and you're going to share this email address at the chat box so that you can also communicate with us if you have any issue. So you can follow us through our different social media pages, that is Kecher Africa on all platforms, and we will be glad to engage with you. And our website as well is active at Kecher Africa, so feel free to engage with us. So basically that is what we do at Kecher Africa. I hope now you have like an idea of what we do and how we have managed to come all the way. So without wasting much time, like I said, today we are having a guest who is already prepared, and she's willing to speak about Erasmus. So she's been at the Erasmus Scholarship, and now she's coming to speak from her own experience, and also assist you on how you can get to where she is and how she's been like through a study abroad journey. So that's it from me, and I hope that you will continue joining this session. And please, like I said, remember to share with your friends the link for them to join so that they get this informative information that we are sharing today. And also make sure that you share to your different social media pages. So I will hand you over to our moderator for today, who is Gada Rosemary, who is also a volunteer at Kecher Africa and also currently a student in Mauritius. And she's a Kenyan. I am a Kenyan as well. Sorry, I forgot to say that. And I'm hosting you from Nairobi, Kenya. So welcome, Ganda, and take us through, and then you will invite the guest. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to today's exciting webinar, which is our edition for education abroad. So once again, my name is Gada Rosemary, and I'll be your moderator for today. And whether you're joining us from your couch in Nairobi, if you're joining us from, like myself, in Mauritius, in Japan, we are thrilled to have you here. And we all know that education opens doors, and it's for the same reason that we're here today. And we are exploring the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. And today we're going to dive into everything you need to know about this incredible opportunity and what it's about, how to apply, and how to thrive while actually studying abroad. So we've got a special guest. Our guest for today is Nduta. And Nduta is our proud Erasmus Mundus alumna, and she will be sharing her story with us today. So I'll just go ahead to introduce Nduta. Nduta is a study abroad consultant and tech specialist with extensive experience in guiding students through various European study opportunities. And through her efforts with the Erasmus Mundus Association, she has helped students navigate their study abroad options and transitions. And she has also collaborated with organizations such as study portals and ASAF to further support students in their educational journeys. And it's for the same reason that she's also here today. She has diverse qualifications, including an MSc studies via Erasmus Mundus, I must say, and an MBA in project management. So once again, help me in welcoming Nduta. So without further ado, Ndita, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Garda, and thank you so much, Pauline, and to pretty much everybody at Kecher Africa. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. It's been actually 1 year. I was looking at our last webinar, and it's been 1 year, but rightfully so, because usually this is the time when the scholarships are opening. So I'm happy to be back, and thank you so much for the whole team for organizing this once more. You're inspiring people, and it's very commendable for sure. So I will go right into it so that we are on time for all the questions that potentially might come along. And so I will do a brief introduction for myself. I mean, already Garda has done it. So yeah, my name is Jane Dutawambura. Yes, I live in Lisbon, and I have been a beneficiary of Erasmus Mundus myself. And it pretty much changed my life, which is why I'm so passionate about it, because I actually decided to come and study abroad after living in Kenya for a bit of time and things potentially not working out in terms of career. And I decided to delve into a program that I knew nothing about, but now I have known quite a lot about it, having collaborated with the Erasmus Mundus Association, as well as the African Students and Alumni Forum that has been quite the pillars towards building study abroad and elevating the plight of studying abroad. So I'm happy to be here, and I will go into my slides so that we are on time as well, I guess. But feel free to also put in your questions if at all you have any questions already as I speak, and I'll be happy to answer them at the very tail end of this session. So please make sure that you can put any question is actually very, very important at this juncture, because you needed to be able to understand exactly what to expect if you're interested in applying for Erasmus Mundus program, which is already, most of them are actually already open. So I do hope that you can see my screen already. And I mean, I will just go straight forward to my next slide, because we've done the introductions. So now, if you are here and you're wondering, okay, I have heard about Erasmus so much so that I even don't understand, where do I begin? What is Erasmus exactly? What is all this hullabaloo? Is it easy? Am I eligible? What documents do I need? All this information is what I'm going to give to you today, and so that you can be able to understand exactly what to expect and start your application step by step. So I do hope that this session is going to inspire you enough to actually begin your application already. If you already did it, then if you already did your application before, then perhaps maybe you would be inspired to do an application again this year, because again, the discouragement of maybe you are rejected, or the discouragement of maybe you missed a document before and then you're wondering whether this is a good fit for you. I will tell you for sure, this is definitely a good fit. Now, what is Erasmus exactly? So Erasmus Plus as an umbrella is actually an EU-funded program. So it is fully funded by the European Commission, whereby the European Commission agrees that we are going to form a program that is going to be within the fields of education, training, youth, and sport. And they have been funding this for quite a bit of time, and Erasmus Plus has been in existence for a really, really, really long time, since 1987. And over time, it has changed over and over. So Erasmus Plus as an umbrella has changed over time to accommodate several programs that are under this funding. And every single other time, they have an update of the funding structure, as well as what they want to fund and whom they are targeting, and so on and so forth. So the last update was in 2021, which would be covering 2021 to 2027. So, which is why we are talking about Erasmus now, Erasmus Mundus now, which is just but a very small component of the broader Erasmus Plus. So you might have heard of Erasmus Plus a lot, and you're like wondering whether it's the same as Erasmus Mundus. But Erasmus Mundus joint master's programs, especially, are just a very small portion of the Erasmus Plus funding, which is in billions of euros. Now, the program actually consists of several actions, which I'm not going into because, again, this is something that if we delve into, then it will include institutions, it will include cooperations between organizations, it will include cooperations between, things to do with sports, youth, and so on and so forth. So just to understand, there's a big umbrella called Erasmus Plus, and under Erasmus Plus, we have several programs, and Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters programs are part of that umbrella, and they are open to pretty much anyone across the globe. So if you're listening to this, it doesn't matter where you are. And the reason as to why we really want more students from the African continent is because we face several challenges, because most of the African students would be maybe lacking information about the availability of the scholarships, which especially is what Kecher Africa is trying to do here, to elevate the visibility of programs that are available across the globe. And there's also a lack of information about particular scholarships and how to read the information that is available online, the eligibility criteria, which documents are required, what is a quality application. And you find that we also have a thing as African students or African people where we tend to do things at the very last minute. So, you see an application online, you're very excited about it, and then, you're like, okay, let's shelf that idea. And you see, oh, I actually have 2 months, 2 full months to apply for it. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep on postponing until I can be able to apply for it much later. You postpone, and then maybe 1 week towards the deadline, you're like, oh my God, that application, I should just wake up today and do it. And then you wake up one day and you're like, okay, you're going to submit whatever. And then once you submit, is a quick fire way of being rejected. So this is another thing that we also do. So I would say things to do with keeping time, the deadlines of the applications. These are things that are very, 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 very important for you to be able to understand. And it is important for you to also follow through the instructions on every one of the pages of Erasmus. So who can apply for these programs? So anyone who has completed a bachelor's degree, and this, I will be very specific here because some people ask, how about if I have done a diploma? Do I qualify? Especially for people who come from places like Nigeria or any other place where they have a higher diploma, a higher national diploma, and they're wondering, okay, do I qualify? This is a yes and no question because it is really dependent on a program as to whether or not they will accept you. Because if you have, for instance, a higher national diploma, then you also need other extra skills or other extra certificates which can back you up. However, if you are interested in a certain program and you're wondering whether you actually qualify, one thing you can do is to write to that program directly, and I will show you how in a few, and be able to ask, can I qualify with the certificates that I have, the diploma certificates that I have? However, if you just have your bachelor's degree, you're just about maybe to complete your studies, maybe you're in your 4th year, or maybe you're in your 3rd year, almost going to your 4th, then this is definitely something that you can qualify for. And if you even finished your bachelor's degree much longer, like maybe you finished 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it's fine because there's usually no age limit. What really matters is you can also have this as a second master's. So if you already have a master's degree, you can do this as a second master's. I did this personally as a second master's. if you also have a PhD, you can also do this, because some people who have PhDs want to also increase their knowledge and do another master's. So this is also something that you can look into. Now, another thing that's usually asked for by some programs is the language proficiency. And this is an English language proficiency, which can be either a TOEFL test, an IELTS test, or any other language requirement, depending on the program. Now, since this is dependent on a program, if you see a program asking for, language proficiency, one thing you can do again is to write to them and request for a waiver from that program, saying that you studied your undergraduate in English, and if they can be able to waive that test, and in place, you can send a letter saying that you studied in English in your university. You have to obtain this letter from the university itself and be able to send it to the program. Again, the program can say no. They can say no, that we really do need the English proficiency test. So which means that you would need to make arrangements to do that test. It's not a cheap test to do. Believe me, you might have seen, especially in Kenya, goes to the tunes of 30,000 Kenya shillings and so on and so forth. So this is something that you have to plan ahead of time, especially if a program says no, you have to have that English proficiency test. Now, another thing that they also ask is, if for example, you are from an African country, you will always see this, a residency certificate. This residency certificate is just to confirm that you live in a certain location. So the residency certificate is usually a document that you can obtain from your local area chief, or depending on where you're listening from, then this is a document that you can obtain also from a lawyer or an employer, stating that this, you've been living at a certain location for a certain period of time. And also, if, for example, if you are a person who has a utility bill that states that, you actually live in this area or this house, a utility bill would be anything like an electricity bill, a water bill, an internet bill. However, in most of the African countries, this might not be the case. So it's important for you to obtain this document from an area chief. And it's actually just a 200 Kenya shillings, for instance, in Kenya, to go to your chief and ask for a residence certificate, which they stamp and say that you've been living at a certain village, a certain location. Maybe they will give the land number or something of the sort, and you can use this certificate towards your application. Most of the programs will actually request for this, so you can already begin to check the eligibility and the things that they have asked for on the websites, which I will go through in a bit. Now, there's no age limit, like we have said. There's really, really no age limit. In fact, we make fun of, actually, the oldest Erasmus student is now going to turn 90-something years, 91 years or something of the sort. So there's no reason as to why you shouldn't be, applying for this scholarship. So there's no age limit whatsoever. So why should an African student apply? What's in it for you? You might ask, okay, sure, it sounds all fun, it sounds all good. It could sound, for some, it could sound a far-fetched idea. Let me tell you, we are living epitomes that this is possible. In fact, the African Students Forum under Erasmus is quite huge. In fact, we have most numbers from places like Nigeria, obviously, because the country is much bigger. And we also have the Kenya Erasmus alumni community, which is almost going 150 people plus. And the thing about it is that, what is it in for you to come and study in Europe for 2 years? So first of all, you will get a full scholarship, so which will cover your tuition fees, it will cover your travel, it will cover your living expenses, and usually you get a stipend every single month. And nowadays we have a stipend of 1,400 euros that will cover your period for the 2 years. Every single month, you will have this stipend, which will allow you to get accommodation, food, and just general living. You will also have international exposure. So international exposure is very important, which is something that I personally really value, because as soon as you study under Erasmus, you're able to study not in just one, but at least a minimum of 2 European countries, and you gain a lot of perspectives and experiences. You benchmark a lot, you are able to see a lot from the European continent. And this is a minimum of 2 countries. There are some programs that even include 7 countries. And so this is something that will expose you a lot. And in fact, even if you are in just 2 countries, where you study in 2 countries, you have the access to the European continent, because you will have a Schengen visa, and the Schengen visa, your study visa, allows you to even travel across Europe. And if you have been to Europe, it is very, very easy to actually travel from one country to the other via train, via bus, via a flight. So it's super, super easy to travel across Europe. And so you would be able to have this exposure for free. And then you also have access to very high quality education at very good European institutions that are usually vetted before they even actually apply for this Erasmus program. You will also connect with a global network of professionals, which means that, for instance, in your classroom, you will have lots of people from different walks of life. So this is a way for you to connect with other people. You will also be able to have like an internship in a European country, which also allows you to gain a lot of networks. And in fact, from such exposure is where you are able to gain career opportunities, which is what happened to me, because I finished my Erasmus Mundus and decided to, look for a career within the European continent. And, by the time I was still in Portugal, and this is where I still live, and I'm now a citizen of Portugal. So these are things that are very much possible. I'm a living epitome of having finished my Erasmus as a student, going into employment, staying in this country, paying taxes, being a good citizen, and these are things that are very much possible for you as well. And since especially most of the European countries will allow you to look for employment, as you may have seen on the news, the European continent has been looking for people to actually come and work here, especially because it's an aging population for most of the countries. Yet, Africa offers quite the young population. We always been told that we are the young continent, and it is very true. And if you are a professional and you prove your skills, it's very easy to bud in and get your career started. Now, what does EMJM offer? So in this case, Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program, they will offer several programs for several different fields, including engineering and technology. You can talk about biology, chemistry, medicine, agriculture. We have development studies, migration, economics, global studies, European studies. We even have African studies, tourism, hospitality, fun things like, wine tourism, if this is a thing for you. We have lots of programs that are vested within Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program. We currently have 191 programs, which I will simulate for you in a bit so that you can see exactly what I mean. And each program is very interdisciplinary. What do I mean by this? Is that you could potentially be from, for example, maybe you studied commerce in your bachelor's degree, and you went to the job market and you're like, what, I have to pivot, perhaps I need a tech skill so that I can be able to join in the workforce. And so you cite a program, an Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Program that is IT related, and you're like, what? Yes, I do qualify because my experience from the IT, it doesn't matter that I had a Bachelor of Commerce degree, but my experience allows me to be a good candidate for this program. And I will show you how in a bit, because usually all of these programs, you will go on that catalog and you'll be like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? But what I would need to encourage you is you have to check the eligibility criteria, because each of the Erasmus Mundus programs look for people from various fields. It doesn't matter sometimes, you could even study law, yet you are actually an engineer, because they are looking for such caliber of people. So this is a thing that always happens. So it allows students to explore various fields, which is one of the most important things that you can have for yourself. Now, let's cut all that slack and go right into how do you apply. So you've heard all of this. It's amazing for you. So how do you apply? First things first is, let's look at the documents, and then I will go right into the website and simulate for you and show you exactly what to do. So first of all, the generic list of documents is more than this, actually. However, you will need first your passport, your international passport. So if you're listening to this session and you haven't yet applied for your international passport, this is the first step, because if you want to study abroad or go anywhere abroad and you don't have your international passport, then you're doing life wrong, okay? So you need your international passport, and you also need your CV, which is ought to be under the Europass format. And I have spoken about this before. I will not dwell into it, but if you're interested, you can always check my YouTube as well, where I have several videos about Erasmus and how to apply. You also do need your motivation letter, and this motivation letter usually highlights, your goals. How is this program aligning with your goals? How are you going to benefit from this program? What are you going to do after? How will you even benefit the program itself? So these are some of the questions that you need to answer. And this motivation letter is usually a personal statement, or statement of purpose, rather, you will see on the program website. You also do need your academic transcripts and also your certificates. You also need a proof of language proficiency, like we said, letters of recommendation. This is just a very generic list. Every program has their own list of documents that might be a plus or a minus or one or something of the sort, but we will go through it just now. And then the application process is all online. Let nobody tell you that you need to be nominated by nobody. You don't need to be nominated by anyone. Every program has an online application process, and you can also apply to multiple programs. So you can now apply for more than 3 different Erasmus Mundus programs. It never used to be like this, and this is an update that is also very important. However, we do not expect you to apply for 10 programs just because your skill set is as diverse as possible. We understand that your skill set can be really diverse. However, obviously, you have to really check through and see exactly what programs really fit within my skill set, because you will have to justify. And in fact, if a program has an interview process, and then maybe you wrote, oh, you know what, I am very, very tech savvy. And then you go to the interview and they ask you one thing, and then you're like, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here in terms of tech. So you have to be really consistent with what you say on your application and what you eventually say within your interview. And this is very, 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 very crucial for you to notice. Now, I want to go to the, I want to go to the program website just before I can tell you what are the main things that you need to check into. So let me just share my screen once more so we can, okay, so I just want to share my, all right, so here we go. And please keep sending your questions. I will be answering them in just a bit. So I just want to quickly navigate to the website itself, and so that you can be able to understand, because this is where the whole journey begins, right? And perhaps I will share this on the chat so you can be able to also go through with me. If you're listening to me, I would say, please navigate into this website if on your computer, because if it is on your phone, the interface might not be very welcoming. This is a European website. So usually some of the European websites, as you potentially might have seen before, are not very friendly. So you might be thrown off on this website and you'll be like, okay, I don't understand anything. So it's important for you, if you have some bit of time, just use your laptop, use a computer on a sidebar, and then you will have a better outlook of it. However, you can still use your phone. However, it will not be very friendly in terms of scrolling through and all. So this is the official catalog website that you have to check. So any other place where it says, oh, we are going to help you apply for Erasmus, please do not listen to them, because there's a lot of scam also that goes around this. So this is the official Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program catalog. And currently, like I mentioned, we have 191 programs going on. Now, these 191 programs, we always have an update over time, and especially because right now is when the programs are beginning to open. So if you're listening to this right now, this is the right time, because the programs will start opening for applications from now. Some will close in December, others will close in January, others will close in February, because it is dependent on a program. I want to hammer that into you, that it is dependent on a program. So a program might not have opened right now. It might decide to open for applications in November and close maybe in February. So you have to check those deadlines on every one of the programs that you're interested in. So make sure of that first. So in this case, we have 191 programs. So how do you navigate into this website? First of all, depending on what you're interested in doing, if this is your first time going on this website, what I can encourage you first to do is go through all the pages. There are more than 10 pages here. Go through all of these pages, checking through the names of the scholarships, because if it's your first time, then you might be wondering, okay, do I qualify for this or do I qualify for the other? Because as you can see, the names of the programs are actually European names. This is not to mean that they do not include what you might be interested in, because again, this is European programs, so they have to be named in a European way, and they have to mimic what the European Commission actually wants. So you can find international masters in soils, flood risk management, and so on and so forth. And what you can do is go through all the list and identify at least 3 to 5 programs which you actually qualify for. Now, once you identify those programs, one thing that I need to let you know is, first, if you see this first link here, so the name of the program, for example, this one, Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Redesigning the Post-Industrial City. This is the name of the project that is being funded by the European Commission. Now, I will open this because you need not to dwell so much into this particular website, because what you really need to make sure of is that you're clicking on the program website where you will need to apply for. So the contents of this website would be the name of the project, and then right below it is the acronym of the program, and right beside it is the official application website. And this is where you submit your application. It is where you read your eligibility criteria. It is where you will see pretty much everything that you need to see in terms of how do you consult this program, how do you see what other people have done before, and so on and so forth. Now we will go through that in a bit. And if you are not new to this particular website, what else can you use is you can filter through. However, some of these filters sometimes might not work very well. So for instance, maybe I've seen people asking, so can I do an MBA under Erasmus? No, because if you come here and type in a keyword MBA, you will not see an MBA per se. You might see another business course, but Erasmus does not have an MBA per se. So you can maybe type in something to do with business, and you'll see. Okay, and once you type business, some might show up, others might not, because this is, again, a website that might not be very friendly, which is why I always say it's better to go through each and every one of the pages. You can also filter by maybe some of the countries that you have been interested in going to. So this filter for the country is for the countries that are participating, or the universities, the location of the universities that are participating. So for example, if you have always had a thing to do with Sweden, or a thing to do with Finland, we still have the United Kingdom here, although some of the programs might be closing. We might no longer have any funding for programs going into the UK. However, if you are interested in programs that are within these two countries, for example, just put Sweden and Finland here, this is in the north of Europe, then you can see the list of programs that would be happening in these two countries. And potentially, if the country is what is guiding you in this case, then you can actually filter through using the country. Now, if you have, let me just clear that. Okay, I'll just clear manually here. So if you have also a thing with usually the duration and the credits might not matter to you, because in this case, as long as you have studied your bachelor's for 4 years, then you definitely do qualify. Other people actually study for 3 years, and it's also very okay. You don't need to dwell so much on the ECTs, the credits, and so this you can skip. The universities, now in this case, if you are very keen on the universities that you want to go into, then you can filter through using the universities. The fields of study in this case could also assist you. So if, for instance, you're looking for something to do with education, then you can also filter through into education. Again, these filters might miss some of the programs that are actually happening just because, again, I have said this before, that they might not be very helpful. The year of project selection could also be very important to you, because if, for instance, you want to see which are the newer programs, because like I say, the European Commission keeps on funding newer programs over and over again. So you can be able to also see if a program was just recently granted a funding. So for example, in 2023, you can be able to filter through and see, let's search and see which of the programs was recently granted a funding, which means that they potentially have a longer period of time where they will be accepting students. Now, each of the programs that you will see here usually have a starting period and an ending period and a renewal after that. So what do I mean by that? I will go into the next slide so that you can understand. So like I opened this before, and this was one of the programs, Erasmus Mundus Joint Master in Redesigning the Post-Industrial City. This is the name of the program. So this is from this particular start, this first website, okay? So now you will be able to see the project, how long it's been going on, how much it's been granted by the European Commission. Why is this important? Is because if, for instance, you say that, oh, I'm not ready to actually apply for this year, maybe I will try next year due to maybe personal things, or maybe due to, it could be a document you're waiting for. It could be you're waiting to graduate as well. It could be several factors, right? So for example, this program was granted to start on the 1st of October in 2023, which was last year. and they have an end date of 30th November 2029. So this means that this program would potentially be taking students all the way until potentially 2027 or 2028, because these are 2-year programs, okay? And since they are 2-year programs, it means that the programs themselves, they have to keep on looking at the quota of the number of students they are taking, such that they're within the grant that they've been given. So for instance, you can see that this project has been granted 5.7 million euros to fund whoever, it doesn't matter where you're from, whoever applies for this program and qualifies under their criteria, right? So this information matters because if, for example, you're not able to apply for this year, then you definitely know that you can apply for next year. And it is also possible that the program also gets another extension of the funding. So after 2029, they potentially could have an extension. And this, again, is published on each of the program websites. Now, this particular website also gives you a summary of, what the project is all about, the universities that would be involved, and you can learn a lot about the project card from there if you're interested in the details of the project start and the end and the nitty-gritties of what to do. Now, the most important, website, however, is the application website. So the application website being the one that is next to the acronym of the program, right? And this is one of the examples of one of the programs that is actually open right now. And if you can see, this is a program for plant health. So for example, this is a very, very new program as well. And this is the Erasmus Induced Masters in Plant Health and Sustainable Crop Management. So it's plant health. And it pretty much, when you come into such a website, what do you do first is read everything there is to read about this program. And I will draw your attention to, first of all, the general information about the program, right? So you want to know, what is this program about? What are the objectives of the program? Because for you to even win a scholarship, you really do need to understand from the committee's perspective, what are the objectives of that program? Do you meet those objectives as a candidate as well? Okay, so do you understand? Because the scholarships, I will not sit here and tell you that, oh, you will just apply for it and you'll get it. I also didn't get it the first time, right? So you really have to meet the objectives of a program because it's a competitive process. And they are also looking at what caliber of candidates are we going to take for year 1, year 2, year 3 going on, right? So in this case, first of all, the general information about this program is that it is obviously a 2-year program because all of the programs are 2-year programs, and whereby you go into various universities. And they also tell you that this is going to be organized by a consortium of 5 universities, and you potentially will go to the institute in France. I don't want to mention that name before I butcher it in French. We have Agro-Paris Tech in France. We have University of Göttingen in Germany. We have University of Padova in Italy. I have worked with this university before. I can vouch for it. Universitat Politecnica de Valencia in Spain. And these universities would be the ones that are participating in this particular program. So what does this mean? It means that you will potentially, because some people might wonder, okay, what does that mobility really mean? It means that, for example, you've applied, you've gone through the whole process, you're a successful candidate, right? It means that, for instance, potentially the first semester, you would be studying in France, right? And then after the first semester is 6 months long. And then after that 6 months, then you potentially move to Germany for another 6 months, right? That's the second semester. That's the first year gone. Then in the second year, first semester, potentially, maybe you go to Italy, right? And then the other semester, the fourth semester in your second year would be your thesis semester. It's always a thesis semester, obviously. And you would need maybe to choose from any one of the other universities, depending on your supervisor, depending on the projects that you are looking to do, and where your supervisor is located, and also the program's discretion as well. Okay, so now that you have learned about the general information about, the program, you will read through and see why choose plant health, understand the nitty-gritties. The minute you understand everything, the most important thing, first of all, let's check the calendar and deadlines and see. So this call is open from 1st of October, which, we're within the time, to the 31st of December 2024. Remember what I was telling you about when you see a deadline and you're like, oh, that's such a long time. That's 3 months. And then it will be your Christmas period and you'll be like, oh, that program I was supposed to apply for. And then you will apply in a very shoddy manner. And guess what? You will be definitely rejected. And the online application has to be before the 1st of January at midnight CET. Believe me, these times are very important because if, for instance, you see it's midnight CET, what does that mean? In Kenya, it's an hour plus, or depending on whether it's summer or winter. So it would mean maybe 1 a.m. in Kenya, or if it is during summer, if it is during winter, it could sometimes mean 2 a.m. So +2 +1. So you have to do the conversion of the timing and see. And then, they will tell you after the call is done, the publication of the listed of the accepted candidates would be in March 2025. And, the people who will get an Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Scholarship would be also as well in March 2025. And then once you are selected, then you would begin your studies usually from September, October of 2025. So if you are applying for a program right now, it is for you to start not in January, but in next year, September, because it's a whole process as well. Once you're selected, then you would need to start your visa process, and then you would start, your visa process, your transition process, and then you begin your studies in September or October, thereabouts, depending on the program. Now, I would want to call your attention as well into the selection procedure, just so you can be able to understand exactly what they are looking for. So in this case, they always tell you what is the criteria that they will be using in this case. So what holds more weight in terms of maybe the documentation. So for example, this one says the academic record and the merits will give you a 60% weight. The reference letters will give you 20%. The personal motivation will give you 20%. So which means that you really need to show that you're a very good candidate in terms of your academic, right? So that you can also, have a very good application. Your reference letters, look at that. 20% is quite a lot. And your statement of purpose, which is usually your make or break for these applications. So it's very, very important for you to understand this part. What exactly are they looking for? And then let's look at the application procedure is also published here. And you, like I said before, you pretty much just need to do the application online using an application form. And now the most very, very, very crucial part is what are the requirements? What is the type of candidate they're looking for in this particular program? So in this case, we do have candidates who have to fulfill this criteria. So you have to have a field, a background in agronomy, agricultural sciences, or any other related fields, right? And as you can see here as well, let me just show you. Okay, so here is, they say also something to do with ECTs, the credit. So it's 180 ECTs, so usually equal to a 3-year full-time undergraduate bachelor degree. So like I mentioned before, you don't have to really worry about the, the ECTs, because as long as you have done a 3-year or a 4-year program, then you should be good to go. And then, you need with at least 4 credits in plant health or crop protection. So this is the type of person they're looking for. They're also looking for someone with language proficiency, except when English is your mother tongue. So in this case, you can potentially send the letter, like I said before, that you at least even studied in English, and this would be good to go. Now, the documents required for the application, like I had mentioned before in my presentation, your CV, your certificate, degree, your transcript records, certificates attesting your language skills, which is very easy to do, your proof of residence, like I mentioned before, and they give you also more information. For instance, here, the proof of residence, like I was talking about, to prove your residence must be issued within 12 months before submission deadline. And this can be according to your municipality. In this case, if you're from Kenya, then it's definitely from area chief. And, it can be also from your place of work. However, some people, obviously, I wouldn't want my workplace to know that I'm, deciding to leave them in a few. So if you don't feel comfortable asking it from your place of work, then obviously go for the area chief, which is much easier. You also do need 2 recommendation letters, and you also do need other additional documents. Like I mentioned, usually each program may or may not have other additional documents. And in this case, they're also looking for documents, other documents relevant for the evaluation of your application. For instance, maybe publications that you might potentially have done, proof of refugee status, for instance, and so on and so forth. And so you just basically need to go to the online application form and submit all of these documents. So it's very straightforward. You would just need to come here and create your username and be able to see exactly what is working for you. All right, now I will go straight back to my presentation so that we are also on time. And let me share the presentation. And once again, I invite you to keep on asking the questions. And so I will be able to take care of them in a bit. All right, now going back to my presentation. So in this case, let me see if you can see my screen. I believe you can. And I'm trying to change this exactly. All right, so now you might ask, okay, I have seen the criteria, I have seen how to apply. It's very easy. I think it is one of the easiest applications that you can do. However, some people are always thrown off and wondering, okay, how do I do this? But it is one of the easiest applications I will tell you for free. Because for instance, if you compare with an application like Shifting, where you have to write like 3 essays, and they have to be leadership essays, and some of the times it's like those essays can be quite difficult to write, right? You have to justify your leadership skills and all these kind of things. For Erasmus, you don't have to do that. It is one of the easiest applications that you can actually do if you follow through step by step. It is a lot of work. Scholarship application is a lot of work, but you got this, honestly. So for you to be able to craft a really, really good application, one thing for sure is to check what criteria are they looking for. Some of the programs also publish on their websites that they potentially might be looking for a certain number of people to join their programs. So which means that they might cut off people according to the funding they might have within a certain year. They do this deliberately, and they tell people deliberately that this is exactly what they're going to do, so that you can also know, such that in case something happens and you're not picked out, then you know exactly what happened. So the motivation letter is your make or break. Honestly, your statement of purpose in most cases is your make or break. Think of it as introducing yourself to somebody who has never met you, asking them to fund you. How would you do it? So you would definitely not want to go into, oh, I'm very poor, I really need this money. Oh, I come from a very humble background. Everybody can easily say that they come from a humble background, right? But what have you done with that humble background or your skill set? What have you done out of it? And why are you passionate about this field? Why are you the best candidate among everybody else who is applying for this globally? Now, be very open. Remember, this is your personal statement. Don't go copying somebody's statement just because it sounds so nice and sounds so good, because this is up to you. You really need to be very, very, very open about exactly who you are. And once you align your academics with what the program is looking for, and have even somebody read your motivation letter on the outside, one thing that you can do is to find even an alumni who has done this particular program and ask them, hey, can you be able to check my motivation letter and also my application in general, see whether it meets the criteria, or correct me here and there. These are things that you ought to actually do. Your recommendation letters, again, if you're listening to this and maybe you burned some bridges in the university, you must have had like at least one lecturer or one of the supervisors who actually liked you, or you guys used to have some sort of rapport. Choose referees who you know that they will be on time to provide a reference letter for you, or they will actually write a letter that really shows you and provides proper details about your skills and character and academic potential. Because like you see, these are things that are, the consortiums look for. And let me tell you, this is not a machine that's going to go through your application. They are real people. They are committees that are set apart to check this. Now, highlight your international interest, highlight exactly what you want to do after. Feel free to say that, yes, I want to do a PhD after. Yes, I want to try and work in Europe. It's okay to say these things, okay? And avoid generic statements. I have spoken a lot about the statements of purpose on another YouTube channel. Once again, you can always check out my YouTube channel for resources. And it's very important to keep the deadlines. Now, you need to start as early as now. As early as we speak now, okay? Gather all your documents as soon as the portals are open. And, most of the programs will actually generally close in February. However, nowadays, because maybe some programs, were given or granted their funding much later, then, they tend to close much later, maybe even in March. Some of them even extend their deadlines, but start as early as possible. And now I want to delve you into how is it like life as an Erasmus student? Because you're like, okay, sure, I approach my life, sure, for 2 years. So how is life going to be like? One of the things that I will tell you, it's not easy to actually approach your life. So that I will not lie to you that it is easy to just up and go and leave your own country, your comforts, your everything. It's not easy. And it's also not easy studying with people from different walks of life, right? So these are things that you would need to think about in terms of transition. However, let me tell you, the process is very much worth it. And as much as it is challenging, everything in this life obviously has its own challenges in terms of institutional challenges, in terms of maybe being profiled and all these kind of things. Yes, these are things that are potentially going to happen. However, on the flip positive of it, I always say, please see the glass half full rather than half empty. And one of the things is obviously you'll be able to study within the European continent. You will have that cultural diversity, the academic excellence. Again, you will really get to have a really good drill. I will tell you, as an Erasmus student, you will read a lot. You will basically just immerse yourself into a lot of studying, which is very, very important because, again, comparing to our African setting in our universities, we tend not to overstudy. I come from Kenyatta University, so if you understand the culture in Kenyatta University, that was my alma mater. Back in the day, we used to say that education is extracurricular and everything else. We used to have culture week, we have parties, we have all these kind of things. But hey, on the flip side, in the European universities, you will have to really read, do a lot of research, do a lot of writing, group work, assignments, and so on and so forth. Your social life will definitely change because, again, you will have to get out of your cocoon to interact with the people that are within your program or within the city that you're going to be living in, because you're not just coming to study here, you're also going to be living in the countries that you're existing, and also even within the European continent if you happen to actually travel around. So life as an Erasmus student is very rewarding, yet has a number of challenges which you can overcome. And so this is one thing that you need to brace yourself to know that, yes, I will have to be the one who balances things. So I would like you to think as, you want to become one of the most hyper-independent people, because everything will be up to you, from studying to living there, to taking care of yourself, to taking care of yourself during winters, during summers, to arranging for internships, to being the financial manager, to all these kind of things. These are transitions that I usually speak about. So it is one of the most very rewarding experiences. Now, I quickly want to brush through how much you would be getting in terms of a scholarship. And in this case, like I mentioned before, would be 1,400 times the number of months, which is 24 months in this case. In total, you will be getting a monthly, a total stipend for the 2 years of 33,600 euros. And this is not, a small amount of money. If you do the math in Kenya shillings, that should tell you a lot. And again, your fees would be waived. You will have insurance, health insurance, every other single, for the whole period of 2 years, plus or minus also 6 months after you're finished. So this is something that you also need to check, depending on your program. If especially your program is one of the old ones that had signed a contractual agreement before, they stipulate this differently, whereby they give a monthly stipend of 1,000 euros plus 3,000 euros in transport allowance for each year, and also give 1,000 euros in installation fee, which is usually a fee given at the start of your program. And basically, it's pretty much almost the same amount of money. It's just a difference of a few hundred euros. But the experience is the same. It's just basically what they changed in terms of financial, reporting, which has changed over the time for programs that signed their contracts from 2021 going all the way to 2027. Now, okay, so after graduation, what happens? You can definitely work, you can definitely study. There's no caveat that you have to go back to your own country. You can join alumni networks, you can contribute back to the African continent in terms of projects, education, research, policy work, all these kind of things. There's a lot. The world just opens up, because there's a lot that you can do in terms of working, in terms of growing your career. Maybe you can begin your own company. Maybe you can decide to go back to your own country. You can decide to, again, also maybe do several programs within the continent, maybe vocational training. You could easily also learn a lot of languages, depending on the countries that you'll be going into. And so there's a lot. So again, just to recap, the tips to success would be start as early as now, and start your application as early as now. Some of the programs also offer some webinars, and you can ask specific questions to the consortiums. And also network with other alumni, people who've done these programs before. I'm here, there are several other African people who've actually done these programs. Make sure that your motivation is strong. And I think I'm going to end it at that, because I think we are also, running out of a little bit of time, and go straight to the questions, because I know you have a few questions. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Nduta. And now we're opening the floor to our audience for them to ask questions. And Brian and Caleb asked almost similar questions. So I'm just going to go and start with that. So Brian says, I did a Bachelor of Education, Geography and History to be specific. Which possible master degree can I do? And Caleb says, I am still pursuing a Bachelor of degree in Education. And can I apply for the scholarship? So he's still in school.
Okay. So yes, yes, you can still apply. So you asked what type of programs you would be qualified for. Yes, and I think they said geography. Did they say something to do with geography or something?
Yes, geography and history.
Oh, okay. Yes. So geography and history. Yes, this is something that you can qualify for. Let me just share geography and history. Let's see. I'm just going to have this open as we also ask these questions. So you can come here and see geography. We'll just filter through and see what programs, like I mentioned before, anyways, you would need to go through this. And there are several programs that actually, incorporate geography. Now I cannot even see any one of them, but let me see. But for instance, the one that I'm seeing right here, geo-resources engineering, would be maybe something that you could be interested in. I already see things to do with history here. So for instance, this is something to do with film heritage history, but let me see something else that might be interested. You might be interested, like for instance, history in the public sphere. So for instance, this is one of the programs that you could apply for, which is like right out of my mind, honestly, because we would need to do some research here. Let me see what is saying here. Let's see the admissions. Okay, so yeah, so as even you can already see even here that they will be having some sessions, so you can also join these ones. Yeah, so they actually have, let me see, visa sensitive countries. They have a deadline for applications on October 15th, 2024. This is a very new program. It has actually been already, I think, running. And let me see something here. I just want to see the program. Whether we have like the criteria, but I do believe that this would be somebody who has done history. So let me see something, connect admissions. Yeah, so this is an example. This is just an example of, the program that you might be applying for. So I thought I saw the program. Okay, academic records. So, okay. Yeah, so this is just a list of the, but yeah, I think I saw something to do with the criteria of the candidates applying for the October, okay. No, but there should be the application requirements right here, which I think letters of recommendation. No, they should be right here. Yeah, but this is an example. So yes, you can definitely apply for for history. You can also apply for you mentioned something to do with geo resources. So let me see. Can share this, and I think you can qualify for this because usually it's depending on what exactly you studied and maybe what exactly you want to go ahead and pursue, what program you want to pursue under Erasmus. So you can, check and see and yeah, be able to see exactly what you want to apply for. But yes, you do have some of them. You have geo resources, like I said here, it was one of them that was showing up. So if you find anything that is interesting, what I encourage you once again is to go through each and every one of the program, the catalog itself, and be able to see what you qualify for. All right, so I hope that I answered you in a nutshell, rather. There's something else that he had said. I can't remember, Garda.
Yes, so Caleb said that he's still pursuing a bachelor degree in education, so he's still in school. Can he apply for a scholarship?
Yes, so as soon as I would encourage him to apply for
Rita? Pauline, just confirm with me that Rita is frozen.
Okay, let me check on her.
Okay. Okay, so we're still getting questions, and if you can just go ahead and write them in the chat. And there's some questions that I can see Rita already talked about, so I'm just going to try and reiterate as we're trying to get her back onto the meeting. So Kiboy asked, how long does it take to get feedback after application? And Rita said that if you just check on the website for the specific scholarships, you'll see that it's highlighted there. For example, for one particular one that she was talking about, they said that the feedback and the results would be out by March. So the deadline for the application would be in, is it December or January? But then by March, you would be able to get your feedback. So it's very dependent on the kind of scholarship the kind of program that you're applying to. So if you just go to the about part, you'll be able to see all the details. So Chris also asked that, can a letter of proof of English language from your university stating that you were taught in English suffice? Duta mentioned that you can write there's a contact. If you just go to whatever program you want to apply to, there should be like an email or contact us button that you can literally click on, and then you'll be able to send them an email and ask them if they can waiver, especially if you're from an English-speaking country or from a country that's... sorry, James, could you please mute yourself, and then I will give you a chance to talk.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So yeah, you can write to them and just inquire about whether they can waiver the English certificate for you, or if whatever document you want to provide can suffice. For the questions that I do not have an answer to, I think we'll just forward them to Rita. Oh yeah, Rita is back. Let me just admit her back. Yeah, so we will go ahead to ask her some of the questions that she did not address, and then yeah, we can go on. So
sorry, I don't know whether you can hear me. Oh, sorry.
Yes, we can. Ooh, welcome back. We lost you for a minute. Andrea, you're still breaking up. I can't quite hear you clearly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Now we can.
I think I'm going to cut off my video for now, but I think it's just, yeah, a connection issue. So I was just mentioning before I got cut off, I think I was mentioning that, yes, you can apply towards the end of your final year, which is usually the best time to actually apply for this program. So ideally, you know, if you have maybe completed your degree and you're just about to graduate, and you have not yet done the graduation, so you can submit a letter of completion from your university, but you have to ask this from the consortiums. So this is what I was mentioning before, so sorry that I got cut off. So yeah, I think we can proceed with the questions, because yeah, my internet is just not behaving correctly.
No problem. Okay, so going on to the next question, Perseto asked, can one add referees who did not teach you but are from the same university?
Yes. As long as you have very good rapport with these referees, if they know you very well, they know that they know your track record. These are people that you can definitely reach out to and apply for. Ask them to give you a very good recommendation letter. Some programs might request for the emails of these people who are referring you, and then they will reach out to them and request them to send a letter on your behalf. So please check to see what what the program is actually requesting for. So in this case, I would say reach out to your referees before you do the application, so that you can let them know that, hey, I'm trying to apply for this and this program. If you could please send me a very good reference letter, then I would appreciate it. And maybe they can run the letter by you before they can even send it to the program, so that you know the contents of it. So yes, you can be referred by people who did not teach you, for sure, as long as they know you very well. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. DMN asked, can I apply for different programs at the same time? And what happens if you get multiple admissions?
Yes, you can apply for multiple programs. In fact, nowadays you can apply for more than 3 programs, like I mentioned. It used to be a limit of 3 programs per cycle, but now things have changed, and yes, you can apply for more than 3. And if you're picked by more than 1 program, what you can do is to decline one of the offers and accept the other offer, which is just fine, honestly. And for the cases where you decline your offer, that offer is extended to somebody else who potentially could be in the reserve list. A reserve list is usually a list that is done by all the programs, whereby maybe somebody qualified but was cut out, maybe due to the funding amount that is available for the program at that year. So yes, you can be taken by several programs, but what you need to do is to basically just decline one and accept the other, if it makes sense. And it's fine. Nobody is going to reprimand you for that. Yeah. I can't hear you, Gerda.
Oh, sorry. The other question is, what if you're a diploma student? Are you still eligible to apply for this opportunity?
So like I said, for diploma students, usually this is at the sole discretion of a program, and usually it's a no. However, if, for instance, you have other certifications that back you up, then maybe, and this is for like a higher national diploma, and this is usually mostly for Nigerians, whereby you have lots of Nigerians doing higher national diploma, and it is almost usually sometimes okay for them to apply for it. However, just a diploma course, no, it's going to be mostly a no. But please ask the program that you're interested in, such that they can be able to tell you whether exactly you're a good candidate or not. But I would say it's basically mostly a yes for anyone with a bachelor's degree. Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Mutusi is asking, the course I'm applying for requests for maximum 2 pages motivation letter and 1 page stating why you need the scholarship. Does this count as part of the 2 pages motivation letter?
Okay, so if it is 2 pages of personal statement or statement of purpose, then that is, just basically stating exactly why you're a good candidate, where you would be stipulating your skill set, as well as, your experiences, what you've done, and so on and so forth. If there's an extra separate page, it has to be stated very well, whether it's an extra stated page of your why for the program, which is your why is basically you as a person. What are you going to be bringing into the program? What do you find that maybe after the program you might be doing? You might also want to study the program very well to see whether maybe the skill set that you have would be very invaluable for that particular program. So this is something that has to be stated very clearly. Whichever the case, if these are 2 separate documents that you need to upload, then make sure that first of all you're uploading not more than 2 pages. And in this case, 2 pages is about 500 words. And for the other separate, document, which is 250 words, it's just 1 page. Please don't go beyond the wording. Please, 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 because this is a quick fire way for you to just get disqualified. Yeah.
Okay. Stephen said that I applied the previous year and I was put on the waiting list. I never secured the opportunity for the scholarship, but was informed I can apply as a self-funded student. Kindly, are there any other known scholarships that one can apply for in this case?
Yes, very good question here. First of all, if you are, you're told by a program that you can apply as a self-funded student, actually, this may be a good thing, sort of, because in some cases, for self-funded students, there's usually like a blanket funding that you could ask your program if they can offer you this type of funding. So it's like a one-time off funding that they might fund you. And the programs usually have this sort of funding, but you have to ask for it. That's one. So if they told you that, hey, apply for as a self-funded student, ask them whether they have like a one-time off, which they can offer you. Maybe they can give you like, I don't know, maybe it could be like 10,000 euros or something of sort. And they can waive also the fee, in which case where, you can be able to see whether it's possible to actually come and study and maybe look for certain student jobs, which can maybe help you with your living expenses. It's not easy, yes. However, you could potentially do this. Two, most of these universities always have, extra funding in terms of faculty funding or university funding, which you can find on the official websites of either the programs or the participating universities. So what you can do in this case, if you did not get funding this time round, is to do your research in the universities that were participating to see whether you can apply for funding using either the faculty or the universities itself, or some programs actually stipulate, hey, if you did not get Erasmus funding, we also have this other funding that you can apply for. And you can also explicitly ask this question to the committee itself and ask them, do you have any other types of funding that I can apply for? Again, it is a competitive process, so but it is worth the trial. So these are the options that I would say. I would not quite recommend for you to go for a loan, because some people always ask, can I get a loan? I wouldn't quite say that, because again, a loan is going to be a burden to you. It would mean that you would have to maybe work within Europe and pay off that loan to whoever gave you that. And it's not usually very forthcoming, because again, they would need to have lots of guarantors and all these kind of things. So this is not a route that I recommend. I hope I answered the question here.
Okay. So I'll take a question from the audience. James John has a question. James, you can unmute and go ahead and ask your question.
Hello.
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 Yes, you can
Can
hear
you hear
you.
me loud and clear?
Yes.
Hello. Can you? Okay, that's good. I'm James John Roberts Boomer. From Sierra Leone. Really, I've heard a lot about this scholarship, because I normally take part in the short scholarship that 1 month, 2 weeks Erasmus scholarship. So this long time scholarship, I want my people from Sierra Leone to be part of it, because I meant to understand there are not a lot of Sierra Leone, or I've not ever crossed a Sierra Leone someone that is part of this long time. So I want to know the criteria, because I meant to understand it's only for people that do their best degree that want to do masters. What about for some students who already have their eyes who want to enter into university? Because in West Africa we have our requirements, that is the WASC, West Africa examination WASC exam. You have to start with it. You have your 5 credits, including English language. So there is any program or scholarship that is available for this type of student?
Okay. James, could you please repeat your question? Yes.
Okay. Now, the question is that because I meant to understand it's only for people that have already done their first degree that want to do masters. Really, I meant to understand. I know that any particular country, especially in West Africa, are enabled to partake in this Erasmus scholarship. So, is that any chance for scholarship for someone who do not have first degree that we partake in the scholarship?
Okay, Dita?
Yes, this is a great question. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, especially for my country, Sierra Leone, because I want my people from Sierra Leone to want to benefit from this type of scholarship, because this scholarship, I meant to understand, it not involve any political link or any government. You have to apply for yourself. So that is the first one. And the second one, if an individual that is in the university that is doing a first degree in third year or final year, he or she is unable to apply for any of the master's program, or he can do another another first year program. That is two. And three, what are the courses that are enabled? And my country, Israel, is it enabled to be part of this Erasmus scholarship? These are my questions. So let me listen.
Yeah, thank you, James. Dita?
Yeah, James, if I understood your questions, first of all, you were asking whether there are scholarships for anyone who has not yet done an undergraduate degree. Under Erasmus, unfortunately, this is not possible. However, if, for instance, somebody is looking to do an undergraduate program within the European continent, there are several programs that happen. For instance, we do have the Stipendium Hungarium, which happens in Hungary, that allows for undergraduate students to actually go and study under scholarship. We have other programs, for example, in Croatia, which open intermittently. We also have other government scholarships that may or may not be open to international students. So it's usually very difficult for undergraduate scholarships to happen, honestly, within the European continent, because again, it comes to do things to do with equivalence tests of what you did in your secondary education, because they have to equate what you did, whether it actually qualifies within the European system, which is usually a very difficult thing to do. However, if this person is also looking to study in any one of the European universities, and maybe they can do it as a self-funded basis, or maybe they have funding from your own country that can allow them to come and study. Like we, for instance, had several, applications from Kenya, where the government of Kenya was funding, and students would come to study within the European continent. And this is something that you could explore. Perhaps ask your Ministry of Education. Also, your Ministry of Education ought to have some of these programs that might be happening, depending on the types of corporations that they may have. So, to answer your question, under Erasmus, we do not have any undergraduate scholarships happening in this case. We do have some vocational training. We have sports, youth, and some of the programs that would be happening under Jean Monnet. If they're looking for a PhD, then this would be in a separate funding known as, it's under Marie Curie, but we do have Horizon 2020. We have other several types of funding by the EU, by the European Commission, but they're not under the Erasmus Plus umbrella. So to answer your question, under Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Program, this has to be somebody who specifically has a bachelor's degree. So unfortunately not. Your next question was about, I believe, what was it again? Sorry.
Okay. My next question is about because if you have someone who is in the university that is in third year, especially my home country, that is doing a bachelor's degree, but has not yet graduated, want to apply for this type of scholarship, he or she is enabled. Like for me, I'm doing agricultural engineering. I'm in my third year, yeah, but I'm not in my home country. Am I enabled to apply for this scholarship? Because presently I'm in Hungary. So this two in one question. The same question for someone who is home in my country, or someone he or she is within a.
All right. So yes, it doesn't matter where you are from, because this is a global opportunity, which means that you can apply from anywhere in this globe. It doesn't matter. So if you are almost finishing your bachelor's degree, then you can definitely apply for it, especially if you're in your fourth year, or for some who have their programs, 3-year programs. Then if you're just about to complete, then yes, you can actually apply for it. And like I mentioned before, you can also send in your letter of completion from the university. If you're also even completing your master's degree, you can apply for this as a second master's. Even if you have also your PhD and you want to do another second master's or even third master's, it doesn't matter. Yes, you qualify. It does not matter where you are located, because this is open globally. Okay.
Okay, no problem. I really appreciate for you to take the time, because I am come in late. Really, I saw a PPT work that we are doing. I do not look up. I don't mind if like I can send my email. I want to have a discussion with you, because I have a lot of young population in my country that want to have this type of opportunity to come and study. So like I would like to have a meeting with you and try to see how you can help, like the way you help in reaching out to us, because I have the recommendation from a friend. She's a Ghanaian, but presently in France. She's doing one of these courses. Really, she recommend the link and recommend it to me. So that's why I joined the link, and I want to be part of this particular uh, 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 um, scholarship. I want another people in my home country to benefit out of it, really, because it's really at the end that a lot of young population are going through that want to be educated, and they do not have this chance, this opportunity, because most of, in Africa, most of these scholarships that are going there, if you don't have political connection, you don't have money, they will not grant you. But I really appreciate like the Erasmus, this type of scholarship. You have to prove yourself. I know a lot of them are out there, but this one is really simple, and if you have the good results, you do your motivation, the interview, trust me, you have it really. So like I really appreciate. And the other thing again, you talk about you talk about the Croatia scholarship, really. I don't know. And the vocational, the sports, really. The sports, the vocational, is it any criteria for someone who is doing sports in my own country can be part of it? What are the requirements? What are the things that the individual is supposed to do?
Okay.
So you can definitely email me, and we can have a discussion about it. And usually you can even find some of these programs vested within the European delegation of your country as well, and other institutions that maybe have corporations. So we can obviously have a discussion about it. So sorry, Garda, for cutting you short.
It's okay. Thank you, James. Thank you, Ndita.
Yeah,
So we're running out
yeah,
of time, and I'm gonna have to cut you short, James. But as Ndita
I
said,
know.
you
Can you send me your email? I've already sent my email in the
yes. So it's
chat.
going to be in the chat. So just keep an eye out. The team is going to put Ndita's details there with her permission, of course, and then you can definitely have a discussion afterwards. So to finish, I have like 2 questions that I think we need to highlight. So I think it is, somebody asked DMN that what is the probability of success assuming all the program requirements are met? And the other question is, for somebody who's looking for guidance and they're going to do this application in the coming months or so, are you open to helping out, maybe going through the applications or just giving them a hand, or if they have questions, how can they reach you?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, if you want to have a discussion with me, you can always book a consultation with me and, send me an email. I think I'm just going to send the email right now. And then you can definitely just send me a quick email, and we can have some discussions. Whichever the case, you can also be on the lookout for any webinars that I do, or even webinars that happen, within the program itself, because the programs themselves also have lots of, webinars happening. Another thing that you could do that I mentioned before is look for alumni who have already done these programs, and they can assist with, checking your general application, telling you some pointers here and there. So I believe this is something that you can also do. So I believe that the success rate, again, is at the sole discretion, again, of your program. Again, it is a very competitive process. So go with it thinking, one of those things where you say you will apply and forget about it. This is one of those things, right? Because I see several people getting very discouraged about, being rejected and all this kind of thing. The success rate is quite high because, like, for instance, I will give you an example of one of the African nations, Nigeria, obviously, again, going back to them. Like last year, they had almost 171 successful candidates. Kenya, we are still growing. We are now almost at 30 candidates who were taken last year. When I was joining, we were only like 2 people. You see the difference? We have been growing over time because, again, it's a lot of work. Like I said, it's work that you can do. So the success rate is there. However, the quality of the application that you put up, remember, again, like I said, is that you're competing globally. So your application really has to stand out in terms of who are you as a person, who are you presenting yourself as. And in this case, that's why I say cast your net as far and wide. Don't just apply for one application. Do the number of applications, maybe 3, 4, 5 at least, so that you can also have options. And also check for other opportunities as well within the European continent. Honestly, there are several scholarships that I talk about. It's not just Erasmus. We have loads and loads of them. In fact, some people might say, you know what, Erasmus might not be for me. It's okay. We have DAAD in Germany. We have NAFIC in the Netherlands. We have, even in the UK, Commonwealth, Chevening. We have governmental scholarships within every one of the European nations. So cast your net as far and wide as possible as well, because you are just one application away, and in this case, they're usually for free. It's free to apply. You don't have to pay any single cent, so you don't have anything to lose in any case. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Jane, for sharing your experience and wisdom with us today. It's been truly inspiring. But before we close, do you have any last words of encouragement for our future Erasmus Mundus scholars out there?
Yes, Garda. As usual, as I say, sometimes people from our great African continent, they're always like very skeptical. I get the skepticism. Sometimes when you see an opportunity and you're like, I don't think that's for me. It's for them. It's for those people. It's for people who have connections. It's for who there's always this mentality that we sometimes have, and we lead by that perception of, you are very skeptical about an application out there. It doesn't even matter whether it's Erasmus or whatever it is. You're very skeptical about it to the extent that you shoot your foot before you can shoot your shot. So one of the things that I would really would encourage you to do is to really maybe call yourself for a small meeting and see the value that you actually have. You've studied, you're the one who went for the bachelor's degree, you're the one who's been through work, for instance, you've been the one looking for ways and means to, keeping on, you have a lot to offer. You maybe have a very good grasp of certain skill sets and so on and so forth. And all you need to do is to present those on a piece of paper. So one of the things that I really would want to encourage you is to make sure that you value exactly what you have to offer and make that application, because you have nothing to lose. And the worst that could happen is being told no. And as much as you're told no, keep on trying until something happens, until a yes shows up. You have absolutely nothing to lose, So one of the things that I would say is encourage you to do the work, roll up your sleeves, do the work, and let that work reward you. You don't have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone else. You can do it by yourself. So I'll leave it at that, Gerda.
Thank you. So I'm seeing that there are people who still may have questions like Dr. Leonida, but we are running out of time. So what we'll do is that you can just leave your question with us in the chat box, and somebody from the team will take it down, and we can definitely do a follow-up for you, and we can give you the answers that you may need. But I also like to point out that we have put Anduta's email address in the chat. So if you have any other pressing questions that you may want more clarifications on, you can definitely take it up after the webinar. So with that being said, thank you to everybody who joined us for this wonderful session. And if you want to learn more about the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, again, we'll be sending out a follow-up email for whoever's questions have not been answered. And again, Luta's contacts are in the chat box. You can reach out to us, the Kecher team, anywhere on our socials, and we'll be able to give you the answers that you may need. So until next time, it was lovely having you here, and that's a wrap.